This program raises questions. This program is for people who find it hard to trust God. The best answers are wrapped in flesh and blood. My friends, people who are enduring real tragedies every single day. Quadriplegia, muscular dystrophy, stroke, bankruptcy, loneliness, singleness. We're going to talk to those very people who have touched my life.
Been in Angola 3 years and they have a life sentence until something changed. Working on these chairs, that's beautiful. When I mess around with it, I look at it and be like, it's gonna be something. I can see it before it's finished. This could change a person's whole way of life. They've been crawling for 5 or 6 miles and all of a sudden they're getting pushed, or they pushing themselves. When they do receive it, it's gonna be appreciated and used and loved. So that's something new, knowing that something that I did with my hands gonna be appreciated. I ain't used to that.
Here, these are the donated wheelchairs from all over the United States, donated to the Wheels for the World organization, and chairs are shipped to me to be refurbished. These are the different stages that they come in to very, very bad shape. We break the chairs down, refurbish them, and ship them back out to needy countries.
Wheelchairs being restored by inmates in prisons. Seems like an odd beginning to our story, but that's the beauty of Wheels for the World. It's one of our programs at Joni and Friends. Because I tell you, there are a lot of wheelchairs, but they're used, sitting collecting dust in garages, basements, and they can have a new lease on somebody else's life. And so our volunteers across the country, they collect those chairs, we get them to prisons, then Christian physical therapists and seating mechanics take those restored wheelchairs to developing nations, and they perfectly hand-fit them. We just don't drop them off on the dock. Sometimes it takes 4 or 5 hours to perfectly fit that chair to a disabled child or an adult in Romania or Ghana or Ukraine, or how about Peru? In fact, rather than me talk about it, let's go to Peru with my friends Paul and Debbie Fasuliak. Debbie was tragically shot, which resulted in paraplegia. Bless her heart, that woman still lives with constant pain. Well, Debbie met this handsome physical therapist, and they tied the knot. They got a vision for helping other people who don't have wheelchairs. And I promise you, you're going to be blessed watching them give God's love on wheels.
We're part of the volunteer organization of Joni and Friends. And my wife Debbie and I have been to Peru 4 times, and this is the 3rd time we've led a team here in Lima.
We're here to fit individuals with wheelchairs, canes, walkers, and crutches, but most importantly, we're here to share the love of Christ with every person that walks in this door.
This is a large soccer stadium that's been donated for us to use, and we transform it into our outreach site. We have a place for the individuals to register. They go through the fitting of the wheelchair. We have physical therapists and occupational therapists that evaluate their need, identify a chair for them, fit them into the chair. We've got mechanics that assist us in that process. And we've got support individuals that assist us with cutting vinyl, covering cushions, giving gift bags. We have large numbers of volunteers. We sew straps. So it's really a large effort of a lot of people to make this happen.
Some of these people come from outside of Lima. We've had people come in trains from other parts of Peru. We've had people come in buses. So they come from all over. Well, the people that have come here today are coming because there were people that care for them in their churches. The church has a community that they serve. Louisiana, ¿me puede decir qué es el problema con esta muchita? Oh, okay. This child has spina bifida and hydrocephalus, which is water in the brain.
I don't know if she'd be comfortable with me picking her up or ella está. Please come close. So that she sees you. Okay. Well, no, she has. This is a correction of her spina bifida because it was born open, and so they repaired that. That's pretty nasty looking, actually. That can cause like a systemic infection. You can die of that. It's actually really serious.
One thing that's really nice, when we came our first year, we met up with a lot of people that came in with sores, and they really needed medical help. They needed a wheelchair, but they needed medical help as well. And so the second year, we were really blessed because we had a nurse come. And this year, we have 2 nurses that are here.
So, but she doesn't want pressure around this whole... Totally avoid that. Okay, yeah. So no.
This is really great to see how they coordinate the care together. It's so hard to see that, just to look at that. Because it takes a long, long time to heal, and it takes months. Because the circulation isn't as good, it just takes forever. The nurse will set them up, will teach the mother how to clean the wound, and then set her up with some supplies that she can take home. So we brought over 700 pounds of supplies. Each volunteering as a wheelchair mechanic.
This one won't have enough support on the back to take care of that pressure sore issue. So we're probably going to build up some foam and do like a cutout so that part of her back won't have any pressure on it.
And one of the number one things when I was in rehab that they told me I really had to be careful about is decubiti. Because if you get a decubitus, you get a sore, chances are if it gets too deep, you'll land up with an amputation. So people will have amputations up at their hips because they got a sore on their butt. Serious.
Mario cut that out for us, and I'm hoping it's going to fit inside the cover that came off of the chair, because that'd just be too cute. So we'll see if that works. Not bad, huh? Okay.
I met my husband Paul 6 years after my injury, and talk about love at first sight. We had a very fast courtship. I was beginning to travel quite a bit for my job, and I had just picked up a new wheelchair, a sports wheelchair, and it seemed really dangerous to me because it was so light. So I had to go back to therapy and learn how to use this new chair. And lo and behold, there was this physical therapist. He wasn't my therapist, and I kind of saw him and thought he was really cute. And little did I know that he was kind of eyeing me too. And he was kind of sly. He kind of took a look at my notes to see if I was married. And on the very last day, he had the strangest pickup line I've ever heard. He came over and said, "Can I look at your wheelchair?" So sure enough, I let him try out my new sports wheelchair, and he offered to help me with my tennis, and I offered to cook for him, and the rest was history.
What we don't have, is cups and toilet paper and tissue.
I heard Joni on a radio station talking about Wheels for the World, and she was asking for physical therapists to go to Romania. So as soon as I got home, I couldn't wait to tell Paul about that because he always wanted to go on a missions trip. And Paul went on his first missions trip to Romania. When he came back, he told the most wonderful stories about all the people that he met and just God's grace and how God had touched so many lives while he was there. And it wasn't soon after that that I was telling his stories better than he was because I loved him so much, and I couldn't wait to go on a missions trip. So in 2003, we were really lucky. We got to come with Joni to Lima, and it was perfect for me. It's warm, and I knew the language. I'm fluent in Spanish. In 2005, we brought a team of 13. It was a small team, and we worked so hard. It took us a month to recover when we got back, and we knew the next time we would have to bring a bigger team. So last year we brought a team of 30, and this year we brought a team of 31, and we've just fallen in love with Peru.
When you think about all those families who are donating wheelchairs, and the volunteers who have to go pick them up and find them, and the people who are providing storage, and the truckers who are providing shipment, and the inmates who are restoring them, and the customs officials that we have to work with, and the government bureaucrats in other countries, and all the donors who are giving dollars, and the people who are praying, that is a lot to shepherd. And we here at the International Disability Center, we're more like a movement. We're fluid and dynamic, and we work together, and we push all these people, time, energy, and resources in one direction. That is to see that child with spina bifida in Peru given a wheelchair, her family given a Bible, and to see them get plugged into a church that really embraces them and showcases the love of Jesus Christ. That's the end game. That's the purpose behind the mission and the movement, and it's working. That's fantastic. Giving those away during the wheels distribution would be wonderful.
This is a strange question because it seems to be rather obvious.
Oh my goodness! I love any picture of Ken, but that is so sweet. Him pointing out what the red bead means on a gospel bracelet to this little boy in Africa. Gee, that's so heartwarming. My husband, Ken, is an ambassador for Wheels for the World. And having been married to me, a quadriplegic, for more than 25 years, he can speak with some authority to some of these husbands of disabled people or fathers of disabled children. He can talk to families. He energizes our teams, encourages volunteers, and often he will pick up a hacksaw and straighten a foot pedal and get down on his knees and do the work himself. I love it that my husband can represent me when I can't go on a Wheels for the World trip.
This is actually Via El Salvador off to my right. Actually, I want you to visit my friend Roy, who happens to live here in Via El Salvador. You know, when they first started, there were only 25 people at Via El Salvador. Now, there are approximately 400. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea over a period of 4 or 5 years, the growth of this little settlement. Is it all right to come in, Roy?
¿Podemos entrar? Adelante.
Is it okay? Gracias.
Ya guardé la ropa sucia. Did you put everything in order?
The 25 folks who were here in the beginning were people who were disabled. And they couldn't find anywhere else to live, so they decided to squat here. And that's basically how they did it to start with. If you squat long enough and you run electricity, then other things happen. And in this case, you know, there was a mayor's wife who became a Christian and had a heart for what was happening here. And so a lot more things started to take place. Great, thank you, Carla, for letting us come to your house.
Okay, ya. ¿Ya?
Thank you, Roy. This is amazing. Look at this. This is what Roy and Carla's house looked like before. This is Carla y amiga. So, you know, where we're standing in right now is pretty much the same area in which their home is, as we see it with the cement floors. But this is it. What did you do before you got the wheelchair?
With my hands. Con las manos. With my hands. Como perrito. Like a dog, you know, like a dog.
Oh no.
Just, yeah. Por eso es que tengo así las manos. That's why my hands is like are like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pues, you can see my I just. Así caminaba antes. That's what. Yo vengo a mi casa.
Is it okay to come back with you then?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Escondí la ropa sucia de mi cuarto.
If you look at Roy's case, where he came really to have a wheelchair or to find a wheelchair, you know, it's interesting because the next year he comes back as a mechanic. And what a wonderful testimony that is. He came to get served, and then he comes back the next year to serve. I mean, that's biblical. And he gets a great deal of blessing and joy out of being able to do that. I think that's what it's all about, and that's what we're all about.
It's a wonderful thing to see the light go off in the eyes of somebody with a disability when suddenly they realize, hey, I'm not just a passive recipient of somebody else's charity. I'm an active extender of grace and goodness, giving the abundant life to others. How wonderful it is, and I know this from experience, to wake up in the morning and know you got a purpose for living, you got a mission, you got a reason to go on, and a life that is really worth living, no matter how severe the handicapping condition.
I just wish my wife could be here to see this, Carla. Since she was here in those early years when this wasn't even here, I mean, this is amazing. What's amazing is both Carla and Roy, among other things, being disabled, they also help to feed children of disabled families here in their own home. There's 18 of them. Did you find a picture, Roy?
Joni.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. Hey, that's a young person there. This was back at the hotel.
¿Es usted en el hotel, no? That's, yeah, right.
Yeah, boy. What year was this? Do you remember?
¿En qué año fue eso? ¿Recuerda?
That's 2003?
En el
2003?
2003. She remembers well.
Jessica? Hi. Can you tell us a little bit about the gentleman here?
Yes. He broke his knee, and he has a external fixator right here. How long ago was his accident?
1 year ago.
1 year ago.
Yeah,
okay.
he fell down 1 year ago. And what happened? He injured his he doesn't know. He doesn't know exactly the medical.
Wilfred broke his knee a year ago during the initial injury, and he fell off of a second story window. He was in the hospital for 2 months for that, and they were unable to do the surgery immediately, so he went home. And here it is a year later, and he just had his surgery. So
his blood pressure is staying stable. So
that's great. Jessica is his therapist today, and she'll be looking for a wheelchair for him. We have a little bit of a problem because he hasn't sat up in 2 months since the surgery. So it's really difficult to get a paralyzed person to sit up and not faint. They usually do that gradually over a period of days. So. Okay, if it were not for the fact that he's getting a wheelchair today, he would be completely bedridden, which is what has happened the whole last year. He's been in a bed all year long, waiting for surgery, and now he's able to come here and receive a wheelchair. It will change his life completely. When we pick up a wheelchair in New Mexico, Paul and I collect wheelchairs. We always say a prayer has been answered in a third world country, and the wheelchair begins its journey. And the person who's going to receive it doesn't even know it yet. This is a perfect example of a miraculous wheelchair. This particular guy needed a wheelchair his size, with all the stuff that it has on it, the correct supports for him. Just trying to get any old wheelchair for Wilfred would not have worked. It's a 1 in a million wheelchair for Wilfred. He has very specialized needs, and the wheelchair was here.
Oh, that's great.
Our teams can't always come to the International Disability Center, so Ken and I will go out there. We'll pack up and head out and make certain that we spend time with our teams, giving them the resources they need to make their efforts successful, to help their vision become a reality, to help them see fruit for their labors, and to remind them of our message, of our mission, to make certain that we're all reading off the same gospel page.
Una chiquita.
Se llama Alicia.
Alicia.
Mostly people in the jungles get polio, and she grew up in the jungle. Yeah, and her little girl is going to receive a walker.
What's her problem?
She has patonica or dyspatonica.
It's actually about mid.
Lima has been so amazing in teaching us lessons. You look at people here and their desperation, and it makes living in America seem like, a piece of cake. It makes, my living in a wheelchair seem like a piece of cake. We come and we give them a gift of mobility, and we tell them the gift isn't from us, it isn't from the United States, it's from God. And in giving them this gift that to them is greater than gold, because they could never get a wheelchair in Lima, Peru, then their hearts are open and softened to hear the word of the Lord. And when we tell them this gift is from God, then their hearts are soft and they're ready to receive the Lord. They're ready to receive the one who has given them this gift that they thought they could never have. Esperanza and Maricela have now come to the counseling room to be counseled about Jesus Christ and His saving grace, and the fact that really this gift of mobility has been given to them by Jesus Christ, and they're asked if they want to receive the Lord as their Lord and Savior. Okay, she is given a Bible before she leaves. She's also given a little story that goes through the bracelet that talks about God's saving grace and receiving the Lord into your heart. They also try to connect her with a local church, and not only has names of particular churches, but also has directions to help her to get there.
Le va a facilitar el traslado para que pueda ir, porque no iba.
There's something really amazing happening in Peru, more than any other country. When the teams come back, the most people that have been saved have been in Peru. So we were actually asked by Joni and friends to keep a close watch to see if it really was something that was happening, and we have done that. And people are really accepting Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. He just doesn't understand what's going on here today.
God is bending over backward to alleviate suffering. He is doing everything possible from His end to lift people out of squalor, to dispel the darkness, to console the dying, to comfort the disabled, to change what this earth looks like into something that reflects mercy and truth and justice and purity and grace and sacrifice. But he needs our hands to do it, and our hearts and our help. And he's looking for people who just make themselves available. And that's what we do at Wheels for the World. We make ourselves available to God, to push back that darkness and shine his light and transform what this world looks like into something that delights God.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
When I do have a chance to go with my husband on a Wheels for the World trip, whether Peru, China, or Cuba, we really feel like we're modeling the words of Jesus himself, where he said in the Gospel of Luke, he said, "Go out into the highways and the byways, find the disabled and the lame and the blind, and bring them in." Then he added, "Do this so that you will be blessed." I tell you what, a lot of people make up a Wheels for the World team. There's physical therapists, mechanics, nurses, inmates in prisons, and everybody else. They all become blessed. They give wheelchairs, they give Bibles, the gospel of Christ. And the key to that blessing is in something Debbie mentioned. She said, so many of us have so much. Well, Jesus addressed that too. He said, to whom much is given, much shall be required. Friend, you know that you always receive the greatest joy when you give to somebody in need. You just can't talk about God's love. No way. You gotta roll up your sleeves and show it. You gotta dig deep and you gotta give it. Then you'll be blessed. Well, I'm hoping our story of Wheels for the World has blessed you.